Yeah, good evening, Anand.
Hi.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good evening.
Hi. How's everybody? Great. Did you get in a chance to practice what we spoke yesterday? Any comments from yesterday's class? Any questions? Okay. If you have no questions, I'm gonna ask you questions then, one by one. I'm gonna pick up names and ask questions. And then you will be on the spot. Are you ready for
Maybe
questions?
that's a good idea.
That's a good idea? Okay. So, to spend like 5 minutes or 10 minutes on Q&A. Yeah. So you have an option now either to ask me a question or be prepared for a question. Did you get the videos that I uploaded yesterday? All of you?
Yes, sir. Where did you upload?
Google Drive.
Okay, I will check it.
Okay. Or let me.
So I didn't get the link, Anand. You shared in the Google Drive, but uh,
Okay. So let me pick up this one. Drive. You just give me a minute. I'll switch to another network. This one is slow. I don't know how I got connected here. Is my audio good? Is my audio clear? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now I got connected to a different one. So this is the drive I was talking about, and I've shared with a couple of people. If you can put your email addresses in the chat, I will just share it with you as well.
I got it, sir.
Sagar, you have a different email address? Okay,
same one.
thank you.
And Anand, how you guys are sharing the link? I mean, daily. So you're sharing the Go meeting link, right? So I'm just coordinating with the Joseph every day. But you guys, like, how you are sharing the link? You're just forwarding to Joseph, or like you're just managing some loop to add all the email and email address so that then all the people they get the same link at your time.
I never
So
had,
did you add?
I never had
How you
any,
are sharing the link?
yeah. So
Okay.
I didn't have anybody's email address so far. So I was sending it to Joseph, and there's another person called Tony whom I used to send. So both,
Oh, okay.
so he used to forward it.
Okay, why don't you take all the email address so that like you can keep it in the loop and you can send it to directly, right? So every time you're just coordinating with the Joseph and other guy, like they has to send me the link. Yesterday I also got the same problem. So I just call you and I ask you the link, right?
Oh, yesterday?
And today also, yeah, yesterday, so you forwarded me the link. It's a new link. I just joined in the old one. But today also I just called to Joseph and he forwarded me the link and we have around like 5 people and then so I just add all the 5 email address and you can send one group mail so that we can get the link
Do you
every
have
day,
all
right?
the email addresses? I got two on the screen. I got okay, can we put all the email addresses here so I make a group or something?
Yeah.
Um Shanti, right? Shanti, can I have your email address? So I've got two email addresses, yeah. So do you have any more? Sagar?
You got my email ID, right? This first one is my,
Yeah, okay, that's yours, Shravanti.
yeah.
Okay, Shilpa, sorry. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, I got three now. Well, I shouldn't be doing this because the screen is shared and it's a recording, and if somebody gets the recording, they will have your email addresses as well. So I'm gonna do it later on, okay? Sagar?
Yeah, okay, Anand.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
it's more for privacy reasons, that's it.
Yeah, I got you, I got
Yeah, because I'm not sure if where this videos will be recorded, so you don't want to get spammed by people. Okay, so great guys, thank you so much for your time. 8 minutes past the schedule time. Let's move ahead unless you have any questions. We'll move ahead with the next set of schedules, yeah? Today we're going to talk about virtualization. Virtualization, which is the underlying layer for any cloud computing platform. Talk about Microsoft, Azure, or AWS. Um, AWS uses something called as a Citrix Zen server in the background, whereas Microsoft uses its own proprietary platform called as Hyper-V. So virtualization is the key, and I would also suggest that you create a couple of multiple virtual platforms on your laptop or wherever you have resources. Like you at least need 4 GB of RAM on your laptop, and that should be good just to see how it goes. So traditional computing was once upon a time, I mean, at least like even now people are using traditional computing, but um, people moved from traditional computing. A lot of organizations moved from traditional computing to virtualization, adopting certain vendors like VMware or Hyper-V, right? And then there's Citrix, Oracle, a lot of players in this area, but these two are the top in this order. VMware is the top one, and then Hyper-V. Hyper-V is from Microsoft. VMware is from VMware. I mean, Oracle has its own product which you can download as well. It's called as a VirtualBox. This is pretty easy. VMware also has lot of softwares. It's called as ESX. And then there's Oracle VMware Workstation. VMware Workstation. So this one, the one on the top, VMware ESX, is mostly for the people or the enterprises, right? Not everybody at your home will use it, but if you want to use a virtual platform on your laptop, then this one will really be expensive. What you would like to use is VMware Workstation, which is mostly for personal It's mostly for personal use and for development use. You get a 30-day trial period. You get a 30-day trial free if you would like to download from VMware. This one is totally free. Oracle VirtualBox is totally free. You can download that, and it is available at the VirtualBox website. You can just Google and download this one. I know somebody has got Mac, isn't it? Sagar, I think you got a Mac.
Yeah, I'm using Mac.
Okay. Have you used a virtual platform on Mac earlier?
No, I started with. I mean, I just now I started with Mac. Actually, I started in the working environment. There many people are using the Mac. So previously, I'm not comfortable with the Mac. Mostly, I use the Dell. Normally, it's like Windows laptops. But in the real time, there's the corporate environment. The many people they're using the Mac, and this is like a corporate environment. We need to grow more, like working on the Unix environment. So this is also a Unix operating system. So Mac is also Unix flavor. So I want to get familiar with this environment. So that's the reason I just started working with the Mac.
That's nice. That's nice. So you're comfortable with Mac now?
Still, I'm in learning stage, Anand, actually. So to be frank, I started from 1 month, more than 1 month, I guess, like 2 months approximately.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm a little bit comfortable. So little change. So Unix, when when you're using the Windows laptop, and so when come to the Unix, the slight difference is there, right? I hope you know the difference. Yeah,
I,
I'm just
I have
trying
never
to get
worked on
familiar with the concept.
I've never worked on a Mac.
Oh,
Yeah. Not comfortable
okay.
with that.
Let's a little. It's not really comfortable, Anand. Actually, the start. I know it's not comfortable, but anyway, I'm trying to learn the maybe it's not rocket science, but it takes like just couple of months or like couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
If you start working on that, then you can get familiar with a little bit. Yeah,
That's nice. Okay.
yeah.
Maybe I'll get one for myself to see how that is.
You're just having you're giving a lot of trainings and all those stuff. Like Mac is comfortable, but if you know, I mean, you're flexible to work on this, then you can easily get it into the Mac. It's not taking much time actually. If you're really interested, then you can get it into the Mac.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, take a look at this website called as virtualbox.org. I'll put that in the chat for everybody. So I would also like you to download one of these applications from there with whatever is relevant to you. Paste. Yeah. So what you should be doing is go to virtualbox.com, and I see there are a couple of platforms that it supports. Windows host and the OS X, Linux, Solaris. So download the one that is more relevant for you. Think everyone else will have a Windows distribution, Windows operating system. So for you, just click on Windows host. Hello, hello.
Yes, Anand.
Yes, sir.
I think I lost the audio. Is that right? Or because I got a pop up here that
Yeah,
audio.
sometimes it's happening.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So there's um you can download one of these. So click on Windows host and give it a shot. Install this software and play around with it. Okay. Maybe at the end of the day today on one of your machines, the last 15-20 minutes, I can take control of one of your laptops and show you how to do that. Yeah, because I've done a couple of times on my machine. I also have VMware Workstation on my machine. Let me show that demo to you now. VMware Workstation. I've downloaded this one. This license is about like $300. Um, but this one is free. You can download VMware VirtualBox. This one is free. So what you can do with it is create your own operating systems on top of it. Sadhar, have you created some virtual platforms earlier? Anybody else has created virtual platforms?
Yes, Anand. Yeah, I downloaded the VirtualBox VMware, and I installed the Linux, Red Hat Linux, and the Solaris on the VirtualBox when I'm using the Windows laptop. So when I was in India, I created, and here also created like a virtual environment.
That's nice. Okay, so what you can do with this is, I've downloaded this VMware Workstation. I think it looks like 12 version. It's a 12.5 version. Okay, so before we go ahead with this practical, I'm gonna tell you what virtualization is. Probably in here, which is Google Draw. So what used to always happen is that people used to have a lot of resources on a single platform, and let's say that is your hardware. And what does the hardware comprise of? Hardware comprises of a lot of things, right? Like CPU, then there is RAM, and there is hard disk, then there's graphical processing going separately, then there are IOs, couple of Ethernet cards, then there are Ethernet cards, etc. There's a lot of processing going on this one. So basically, if you are hosting operating system on top of this, it's gonna consume the resources from the hardware that you have given, right? It's no different from what the Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 10 that you're using. That is consuming resources from the hardware that you have. But with the advent of virtualization, what people have done is created another layer called as virtualization layer, and we call it virtualization layer. And this virtualization layer can be created with all the tools that I just listed over here in the notepad. Yeah, Oracle VirtualBox, Citrix. So once you create this virtualization layer, I mean, you will not be able to see that physically, but the virtualization layer will help you create virtual machines on top of it. So you can create a box which is Windows 7, another box which is Unix, another box which is maybe something else. You can create multiple of those operating systems. Yeah, so you can create so many virtual machines. So machine A, this first machine is Windows 7, the other is Windows 2008, other one is Unix, another one is Linux, whatever. You can create multiple virtual machines, and there is no limit to the number of machines that you can create. The only limit is your hardware. So if your hardware is pretty big, like CPU is like Xeon processor, 3.4 gigahertz, multiple core. You got couple of gigabytes of hard drive, like 80 GB or 200 GB of hard drive. The RAM. Then you can create as many virtual machines as the hardware supports. Yeah. So this machine, the laptop that I have is like 8 GB. Um, the one that I have is almost like 8 GB RAM. So the number of virtual machines that I can create is limited by the hardware that I have, right? Um, yeah, is that clear, Shravanti and Shilpa?
No, sir.
No, okay. So you're actually using a hardware, right, that has operating system on top of it. That's it. So you're using a traditional method of computing. Not just you, everybody, even me. So this is a hardware, right? The one that you have configuration, like you said the other day, you have 6 GB of RAM with an i5 processor or something. That's good, but that has an operating system on top of it. But if you want to create a lab of 10 machines, you have to purchase 10 different laptops, isn't it? So instead of that, you will use virtualization in which you can create virtual machines on top of the existing hardware that you have, and that way you save a lot of money. And look at this, I've installed VMware Workstation Pro. With that, I'm able to install SUSE, I'm able to install 2008 R2, Ubuntu, etc. So I wanted 3 to 4 machines, right? I wanted 3 to 4 machines, um, which will help me create a lab environment. But if I have to physically create a lab environment, I have to purchase 3 to 4 machines. I have to go out in the market and spend good money to get those. And it's all not only cost, but also have to handle about the power supply, the place where I should put the rack mounting and all that, it's going to be difficult because they are real physical. I have to pick them up. But here in virtualization, I do not have to do any hard labor here. No expense at all. Just download this any software that is good for you and keep this moving. I can create virtual machines like this. So let's say right click. This is going to show you how to create a virtual machine here. The home page, there's a, wow. So okay, file, new virtual machine, and say next what you want to create. And let's say I want to create a, I have all the source files here. I've kept all the source files in my C and ISO. And let's say I want to install a Windows 2008 R2, okay? And say open and next, okay? I will not worry about that, but I'll give it a password for sure. Um, okay, I'm in a hurry. Okay, so I'll create a VM over there. See, how much hard disk do you want to give it? You want to give 40 GB or 50 GB or whatever. You can put that here, and that's it. So you are creating a virtual machine with a hard disk of 40 GB. The RAM is 2 GB. You will have a network adapter. You will have all other hardware just like the way you have on your physical machine. You can also customize the hardware. If you don't like to give it 2 GB, you can give it more. Just write some, just keep on increasing to whatever you want. Yeah, or use this slider to move it up and down, right? Or if you don't like one processor, you can change it to whatever processors you want. Yeah, and say okay, done. Now this machine has that configuration. It's a finish. So here I'll see a new machine. Now it's booting up with the ISO that I pointed. That's it. I don't have to go to the market to purchase a new machine or do anything of that sort. So this virtual machine is using the resources from my physical resources like the RAM. The 2.5 or 4 GB RAM that I gave it is used from my physical RAM. And the same holds true for all other hardware resources that I've utilized for this 2008. Is it clear now? You have the right to say no.
Got it, sir.
Got it? Okay. Shilpa, how about you?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Got it? Sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would like you to, download this software. Just go to this box. I have put that link in the chat earlier. Copy this and paste it in the chat and download this one. Click on Windows Source. I hope you have Windows machines, not Mac.
Yes,
Okay,
I
so,
have both.
oh wow, okay. That's nice. So now click on this Windows Source one and let it download. It's a quick one, very small file, and there is a different interface. The interface that you will see is something like this, VirtualBox. I have that installed as well. Um, and you can create virtual machines on that as well. Now, this interface is something that I like personally. The VMware interface is good because you can see multiple tabs here, but on Oracle you will not be able to see that multiple tabs. Oh, it's going to a different screen. Um, so it is installing Windows. It is no different from a physical interface. It is just the same as um, your physical machine, but it's just that you're saving good money and time and resources as well. A lot of corporates use VMware ESX or Hyper-V. They use Hyper-V or this one. There's a lot of scope for this and this in the market as well. People who know Hyper-V and people who know ESX. So because the cloud evolved from these virtual platforms. Okay. Now there are two kinds of virtualizations again, types of virtualization. One is a type 1, another is type 2. That is pretty simple to understand. So if I make you understand type 2, which is the kind of virtualization that we're using now, is type 2. This one. This is type 2. How it is type 2? It is type 2 because it is dependent on my operating system. So what you have here, where's the drawing? Yeah. What you have here, and if I have to draw the way I have created it, what I also have is an operating system over here, isn't it? Yeah, what I also have is an operating system, which is Windows 7 in my case, right? So I have the hardware, the virtualization layer sits there, and then there is Windows 7. On top of it, I'm creating these virtual machines. This is Windows 2008 that I just launched here, and there is Ubuntu, then there is 2008 again, then SUSE. So I've got these 4 machines. So one thing to keep in mind that these virtual machines are dependent on Windows 7, right? If Windows 7 is corrupted or not functioning properly, these machines may also not function properly. If Windows 7 is not functioning, then they may also just shut down or uh, may not function as expected. And these virtual machines are also dependent on virtualization layer and the hardware, right? Right? So there is an operating system in between. Such kind of a system is called as a type 2 hypervisor, where dependency is there on the operating system. So people came up with another virtualization platform, and they called it as type 1 and said that there will be no operating system. It sits directly, the operating the virtualization vendor software will directly sit on the hardware. So there are softwares like VMware, ESX, and another open source as well. It's called as Proxmox. You can download that. It's free of cost, proxmox.io, but you have to install it on your hardware. So there is no operating system here. VMware ESX is built on the Linux kernel, and Proxmox is also built on similar open source platforms. So there is no operating system out there. So type 1 is no OS. Type 2 dependent on host OS. Any questions? Is it clear? No? No? Yes?
Little bit yes and little bit no.
Sorry, repeat it.
Little bit yes and little bit no, sir.
Little bit yes and a little bit no. Well, yeah, no problem. So, type 1 hypervisor is where it's dependent on where it is not dependent on the operating system. Type 2 is dependent on the host OS. In the sense, look at this virtual machines that I'm creating. Do you think that if my Windows 7 gets corrupted or get crashed, will I have ever access to these virtual machines that I'm creating? Windows 2008, Ubuntu, SUSE. If my operating system crash, Windows 7 crashes, the underlying layer crashes, I will not have any access to these virtual machines, isn't it? You agree with me or not?
Yes.
And that's a big challenge, that's a problem. So what vendors did, it created another type of virtualization called it type 1 operating system, type 1 virtualization model, where there is no operating system at all. It directly creates virtual machines. there will be no Windows 7 operating system, or there will be no Windows 8, there will be no Mac, there will be no Windows 10 on your base machines. On your base machines, what you will directly have is VMware ESX. So the way it works is, um, the way it works is, let's say on this machine, you will have that software installed. Let's say VMware ESX. Okay, now once it is installed, once you install VMware ESX, you can actually do very less things on it. You cannot log, you can log into it, but there are very less options that you will have. So the way you have to connect to that virtual machine is by installing VMware client on your laptop or a desktop, right? On your, so you'll install VMware client here. And let me show you how VMware client looks like as well. So once you have the VMware client installed, you'll punch in the IP address of this machine, right? You'll punch in the IP address of that machine, and what will happen is that you'll get connected to this, and then you can create virtual machines on the actually host machine. Okay, so if I have to show you VMware client, that's how it looks like. It's a plain little software. That's it. I have to type in my the IP address, the username, and the password, and then it gets connected to that virtual machine. So here I'm typing in the IP address of the VMware ESX server, the user ID and password that has been given to me, and then once I log in, I don't have it here, but I have one in my office. I won't be able to connect to this machine now because it's not in the LAN. And I can show it to you some other day as to how to connect to VMware ESX. But that's the basic software. Just type in the IP address, type the username and password, and then you get connected to that. And there you'll have similar options like this to create virtual machines. Right click, new virtual machine, etc. Is that is that clear? Any questions now?
Fine, sir.
Yeah, I suggest that you download this one. Download the virtualbox.org on your machine. And do you have the ISO files as well? You have to download maybe. Let's download Windows 2008 R2. You're gonna get that for 180 days. Evaluation period is something that you will get. So download Windows 2008 R2. Let me send you the link as well. Yeah, you get 180 days evaluation. Sagar, you have a virtual platform on your this one Mac already?
Yeah, so I already downloaded this VirtualBox.org.
Okay, okay.
But I do have the Windows laptops too, Windows laptop too, Anand. But so I'm not using currently that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with it, mate. Cloud computing,
Yeah, I want to go with the.
yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't
I want
need
to go with the.
Right, go ahead, please. So, please download the VirtualBox and also the operating system. That's an ISO file. Download that. I think this one's gonna take a while because it's over 3 GB. Yeah, it's about 3 GB here, 2.9 GB. So that's how it is. Once you have that, you can create virtual machines on your Oracle VirtualBox. Oh, dogs. Sorry about the background noise. Okay. Shilpa and Sawanti, have any questions on the virtualization? Is it a full yes and a full no?
On Monday, sir. Monday it will be full yes.
On Monday, okay, so you're gonna test this, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Good, good, good. Yeah, it's important to practice every day, right from the IP addresses thing, different kinds of IP address, 10 dot, 170 dot. Take a look at what is a private IP address, what is a public IP address. I'm gonna make a note here. So what is a private IP, what is a um, public IP, and I also told about class A, class B, and class C of IP addresses. What is CIDR notation? What is variable length subnet masking, which I told on the third day or second day, I believe. Whenever this is important to review, because moving forward when we do Amazon Web Services, there we'll be using these terms a lot. We'll be using terms like what is a data center, what is a subnet. Yeah, so you should be familiar at that time. Should not be sounding like, hey, what's this? Yeah, we'll be starting AWS in a day or two. Mostly Monday I would like to start AWS and keep you occupied on that front. So a couple of slides that I created, and that should be helpful for you to understand. Maybe a repeat of what we did earlier. Oh, right, I can. It may have certain Azure content, but I'm not sure if you know this. Have you seen these slides earlier?
No, Anandya. So we didn't say this. I mean, I didn't say this.
Right. So what you say on the top left hand side is a diagram of a traditional data center, right? So that consists of these are called as racks, and there's a cooling systems in between. There's electricity. There's HVAC system, HVAC, HVAC, HVAC. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. You need to have earthing, you need to have signals and systems and processing in place. And you see on the right hand side of the diagram, there are a couple of monitors that are there for monitoring purposes, monitoring the entire data center. So that's quite a lot of investment. And what has happened now is the people moved from that, moved to cloud. All that says Windows Azure, that's the same thing. So you see, what is cloud computing? Anything that you can get on demand. Now, anything that you can get on demand from the cloud, create your own resources, and you can access it from anywhere at any time, is cloud computing. You can create pool of resources, and when I say resources, it is anything. Networks, yes, you will create in Azure and AWS as well. You'll create servers in AWS, you'll create storage, application services. You'll also create data centers in the cloud, what Amazon calls it as VPCs. We'll do certain scripting as well. So how to automate certain things in the cloud. So NIST is National Institutes of Standards and Technology, that governs how the cloud vendors should be operating, and what are the characteristics and features that cloud vendors should have. And that's how the cloud evolved. Today we are at the public clouds, and the way we started was by with the help of traditional data centers. Um, Traditional data centers are nothing but what you have in your offices. Um, you have all the rack mounted servers, you have the storage area networks. Hey, just a moment. Sorry about that, guys. So in our offices, we have a separate room that will have a rack-mounted server, that will have storage area networks, that will have firewall switches and an ISP connection coming in. So that was a traditional data center, right? And then people moved to virtualization, which I showed you. Like VMware, ESX is what companies implement, and then Hyper-V. So a company which is a Microsoft shop, which which will be using Hyper-V. In Middle East, countries like Dubai, Bahrain, Saudi, they're all ruled by Microsoft, and Hyper-V rules there, where in other places like Europe or North American continent are using VMware there. And then companies started their own private clouds and community-based clouds, where the cost was significantly reduced, and moved to hybrid clouds, which we saw the differences yesterday, right? Private, public, and hybrid. A public cloud is something similar to Amazon or Azure, where you can create your entire instances or storage or networks. So you know very well about this SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. Software as a service is where you just need a user ID and a password to log in, and you have no, well, not a control, but you're not having any responsibility of maintaining those databases or maintaining the infrastructure in the SaaS. A platform as a service is more of a database where, um, like SQL Server, or you as a developer want a certain platform to develop an application. So you can simply lease out MS SQL Server or MySQL. Otherwise, licensing will be very expensive. Visual Studio is like thousands of dollars. So I've got a license on my machine, the Visual Studio. It's very expensive software. But if I have to, um, lease out, let's say do my job for a couple of hours on the Visual Studio on the cloud, that's much cheaper. Infrastructure as a service, Azure and Amazon Web Services are the best example where you can create the entire infrastructure. You can create a data center, you can create internet gateways, switches, routers, firewall, storage, everything that you can think of as far as infrastructure as a service. This is interesting, pizza as a service. Let's take a look at that and how we can compare it to each of those service models. So if you have to cook your own pizza at home, what will be your responsibilities? Your responsibilities will be everything. You have to maybe even make the cheese, prepare the toppings, tomato sauce, all the ingredients, not just the ingredients, but the oven, electric gas, soda, dining table. All of this is the infrastructure. So you need infrastructure and the ingredients to make a good recipe, or cook a pizza. So it's your responsibility. On the traditional on-premise environment as well, it's your responsibility to maintain everything. But when you take a part of it and bake it in your environment, take and bake, where you go to market and purchase the pizza dough, tomato sauce, toppings, and cheese, rest of the items like dining table, soda, fire, oven is all your responsibility because you want to bake at home, right? What if you want to get it delivered? All you need is a dining table to sit and eat, and that's your responsibility. Rest of it is not your responsibility, it is vendor's responsibility. But if you go and eat outside, nothing, just have to sit and eat, and even the dining table is provided by the vendor, right? So vendor manages the ones in the green, and blue is managed by yourself. If you look at this one, right, it's the same thing. So on-premise is your traditional computing where you manage everything, right? Infrastructure as a service is you manage a part of it, whereas virtualization, server, storage, networking is all managed by the vendor. Could be Microsoft or anyone else, Amazon. In platform as a service, which is mostly databases, you maintain the application and you maintain the data, right? But virtualization, where it is hosted, the performance, the IOPS, operating systems, all managed by Microsoft or Amazon. In software as a service, you can think about example of a Gmail which you're using. You hold no responsibility. Simply use user ID and password, and that's it. Good. You know about public, private, and hybrid clouds. So you create your Azure account. That was about Azure, but AWS is no different. So I have separate set of slides for AWS. What are the key characteristics of cloud computing? Now it should be on demand, broad network access, resource pooling, rapid elasticity, and measured service. Let's take a look at them one by one. So you should be able to access your resources and also create resources as and when you need it from anywhere and anytime. If you want to uninstall it, upgrade it, downgrade it, you should be able to do it anytime. That is on demand. So whenever you want it, you should be able to provision a resource in the cloud. Rapid elasticity. One of the examples that I can give is for the e-commerce websites where there's a lot of shopping going on at a particular sale point, let's say Cyber Monday or whatever. At that time, there's a lot of sale going on, but you don't want to purchase the servers because your existing servers may not be in a position to handle the traffic at that time. But on rest of the days, it may be very normal traffic and your infrastructure is good enough to support it, right? So what should happen is scale in and scale out. Yesterday I was making notes there and asked you to look at the word scaling and elasticity. I'm sure you did, and that knowledge will be helpful to understand this one. So when there is a lot of traffic, the virtual machines or the resources on that virtual machine should automatically scale out and expand more resources from 4 GB RAM to 8 GB RAM. Right, from 8 GB RAM to 16 GB RAM as the traffic increases. But when the traffic reduces, it should automatically scale in and say that, okay, today I don't have so much traffic, let me come back from 16 GB to 8 GB. And you will be charged for that 16 GB for only that period of time. If you purchase the entire hard drive, entire environment, then you have to pay for the entire resources. So this is also called as optimum utilization of resources. You're utilizing as per the demand, right? Measured service is everything should be measurable. You cannot go out of control and say that, okay, you pay for this and you pay for that, but you need to know what you have paid for. How much of storage have you used? How many IOPS are there? How much of storage in that particular region you're using? Region-wise billing. How many virtual machines have you used for what amount of time? What is the duration the virtual machines were on? What is the IOPS per data center per region? So that is there. You should be having very segregated billing so that you know where is my expense area. Right? There are no contracts with Amazon. There are no contracts with Azure. If you want to bring down your services today, you can bring down today. Just pull out your credit card with that and delete your account, and that's it. Right? There are no agreements, no rentals. Resource pooling is another important area where you will have multiple people using your resources. So if you are provisioning a server in the cloud or provisioning a server in Amazon Web Services or Azure for that matter, it doesn't mean that you are owning that host machine. There is something called as a host and the guest. Now, remember the scenario where we created the virtual machine, Windows 2008 virtual machine in my VMware workstation platform? Yeah, I launched VMware Workstation and created a Windows 2008 machine. Remember this one? This one? What is that? Yeah, here. This one. This scenario. So this machine is called as a guest machine. Right? This machine is called as a guest machine. And my Windows 7 machine is called as a host machine because it is hosting all of these virtual machines. It is hosting SUSE, it is hosting Ubuntu, it is hosting 2008. Yeah. So the base machine is called as a host machine, whereas these virtual machines are called as guest machines, right? So when you host your virtual machine in the cloud, your VM will be a guest machine. doesn't mean that the host machine will have just your virtual machine. It can have multiple virtual machines from different customers from different geographical regions. Got that point? Did you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, Anand. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Shravanti and Shanti.
Understood only little bit.
Okay, so I'll just draw a diagram here to make you understand that. So if you look at this, where's our favorite tool? Google Draw. I'm explaining multi-tenancy here, okay? And people may even ask you in the interviews here. Um, what is multi-tenancy? So if you create a virtual machine and this is the virtual machine, or this is the host. This is the host that is owned by, okay, did you understand host and guest words? The words called host and guest?
Yeah.
Okay. Now when you create a virtual machine, you may land up somewhere on this host in somewhere on the data center. Look at this. That's your virtual machine. And there could be hundreds of virtual machines created on this particular host. There could be hundreds of them. Yeah? There could be hundreds of them. Let's say just this piece is owned by you. Just this particular box is owned by you. Now rest of these machines can be owned by other customers. Rest of these machines can be owned by other customers from other companies from a different geographical region. Right? This is more like rental basis. How do you live in an apartment or a paying guest accommodation? There are different people. You don't own maybe a couple of people living in the same room. That's the same thing as multi-tenancy. What is a tenant? Tenant is the guy who um, rents the space. We're doing no different here. The host machines have rented the space, sorry, the guest machine have rented the space on the host. Right? So this is called as multi-tenancy, where there are multiple virtual machines hosted on one physical host, and those guests are owned by different people from different geographical region, from different countries, wherever. We don't care about that. Right? That is called as multi-tenancy. And hence we are pooling the resources that are on this host, and this host may have a massive configuration like 2 or 4 terabytes of RAM, multiple petabytes of hard disk, like 40 to 60 processors running on it, and hence it's able to um, provision so many hosts on so many guests on one single host. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
So that ways you achieve multi-tenancy. You can also scale up and scale down when you use multi-tenancy. But you do have an option. If you want to use this entire host, or you want a dedicated host for your environment, yes, you have that option as well. You can choose what to do, right? Broad network access, you should be able to access it from anywhere at any time. Internet is important, and you can even access it from your mobile phone, from any web enabled device. I've got a small phone which is 5.5 inches screen, and I've got a mobile app for AWS. I was able to create virtual machines on it. I was able to shut it down, terminate them, manage my databases, create my databases anywhere geographically. So it should have broad network access. But these guys have massive infrastructure in various regions. They got on. This is an Azure or Microsoft um, chart, Microsoft map, but Amazon is no different. Yeah, Amazon is different. I'll pick up the Amazon chart on Monday maybe and show that to you. So Amazon is no different, and it's gonna host the geographical regions like this. And recently, Amazon came up with a new data center in Mumbai, which is in India. So in United States, they got 2, one in the east, one in the west. In the Europe, they got 2. They don't have one in Africa. They do not have in Middle East. Yes, they have one in Mumbai. There's one in Seoul, Korea. There are a couple. One in Singapore. There's one in China, and there are two in Australia, right? So let me show the AWS console to you. Has everybody seen Amazon console? Anybody logged into Amazon console? Sagar, have you seen Amazon console? You have an account?
Yes, Anand. Yeah,
Shah, you have an account?
I logged into the Amazon.
Okay. Shravanti, you have an account in Amazon? Hello. Okay. Shilpa, you have an account?
No, sir.
No? Okay. I suggest that you go to aws.amazon.com. The Okay. So I'm going to put that in the chat. Just go there and there's an option called create a free account over there. You may have to put in your credit card or debit card there and create an account for yourself. They're going to charge $1 and it comes back as well. It happens in India at least. Did it come back for you, Sagar?
Yeah, it's $1, Anand.
Yeah.
If I initially they charged $1,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not sure they give it back or not. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. You create a free account because I created my account like 4.5 years ago. So when I created my Azure account, they deducted ₹2 and gave it back to me. That was only for verification purposes. So I'm not sure if they have changed anything now. Just trying to log in here, management console. Okay. Uh-oh. What's that? So Shilpa, are you creating your account?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Yeah. So I suggest that you create one for yourself back because that will be your lab. That's where you will be using the lab. I'm not sure why I'm not able to log in here, but
Okay.
you just go to aws.amazon.com and there's a button over there, create your account for free. Make sure that you click on create your account for free. Otherwise it will be pay as you go model. Okay. That's it. And any questions so far for me? Shravanti? Okay. I'm not sure why I'm getting this, but I'm not behind a firewall, but what I can do is change my internet traffic and see. Okay, so just switch to another internet. Yeah, this works. Okay, so I'm logging in with my user ID and password, and I've set up multi-factor authentication on my AWS account just to make it more secure. and this comes on my mobile phone 636. Just click on sign in. Okay, authentication code. Right. Okay. So that's it. I'm logged into the AWS console and I've got so many geographical regions here, isn't it? I got on the top right hand side, North Virginia, Ohio, all of these. So when I click on it, that means I'll be redirected to that data center to create machines there or use the resources over there. Yeah. And during this course, we'll be talking about EC2. We'll also do load balancing on the web server. We'll do S3. We'll do certain database things. Of course, we'll do VPCs. That's important thing. We'll do CloudFront. We'll do Route 53. We'll do CloudWatch, CloudFormation.
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Now, is it better? Is it better now?
Hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So I was just showing these services that we'll be working on during this class, going through each of these EC2, S3, load balancing, databases in the cloud, management tools like CloudWatch and CloudFormation, monitoring as well with SNS, SES, and SQS messaging. So we'll do that in the days to come. I suggest that you
No,
do.
sir, it's not clear.
Not clear.
Is it with everyone or else only with my lappy?
It's with everyone, it seems.
Okay.
Okay, now is it better? Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
So I was telling that you need to understand all of these, the things that we have learned so far, the commands. I think we should also start with ports and protocols. Monday I will tell you ports and protocols. But if you get time, do learn about these ports and protocols, ports and protocols. Yeah, do learn about these as well. But I will tell you on Monday about ports and protocols. So, any questions so far? We got a whole weekend here, Saturday and Sunday, to work on whatever we did yesterday. The videos are out there. The videos are out there, and take a look at them, review all of them, make a note of all the questions, make a note of questions. You will have a lot of questions. Google them, and if you cannot get answer, please do let me know, or just send an email to me, and that's my email address. That's my email address. If you have any questions, just shoot an email to me so that I'll be able to sort it out over email, or maybe another WebEx or something, or on Monday. Anything is fine. Yeah. But keep reading. Put an hour or two for your research. Okay, Sagar.
Yes, Anil.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Sure. Absolutely. Shanti, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Will you do some homework on the weekend?
Yeah, what home? I mean, I'll read the videos, see the
Yes.
videos again and read something from internet.
Yes. Yes. Look at all the things that you see on the screen: private, public, CIDR, ports and protocols, and everything. If you have any questions, shoot an email to me. Yeah. or we can discuss on Monday as well. Shouldn't be a problem. Try to create your AWS account. Create your AWS account and see how that is. If you have any challenges, no problem. We can do that Monday. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Have a very good evening and happy weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Thank you, Anand. Happy weekend.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.